In 2 months, am I going to be upset when something happens? You need to think in the mind of the business owner rather than, okay, I want money. Tell them everything's perfect.
People are not setting expectations. I haven't heard anyone talk about setting realistic expectations.
A lot of business owners have no clue what it can do. So this is where you need to be very open-minded and like let them talk. Let them talk about their problems, and then you just pull the lever.
People don't buy magic. Everyone's telling you to sell AI like it's magic right now. It's fucking not. It's another tool.
Well, guys, this is going to be our first podcast. This is Andrew Mudd, not only one of my best friends, my old roommate. He is the CTO at Grow AI. He's a tech genius. We've built some pretty cool things in the past together. And I want to give you guys a little introduction. I know he's not really on camera much, so I want to go ahead. We're going to have a quick conversation. It's maybe going to be 30 minutes or so. I don't know. We're just going to shoot the shit about AI. This is all we do. And I decided that we should share this with everybody. We have very valuable conversations, not only in text, phone calls at 1 a.m. And I decided I want to share this on my YouTube channel. So Andrew Mudd, you want to introduce yourself I'll let you speak.
Oh yeah, what's up everyone? So I'm Andrew. Like Jake said, I don't do content a lot. So I'm like a unicorn. When you see me, you pay attention. You don't just skip over what I'm talking about. You pay attention. So I've been like really deep diving AI for 5 years now. And it's not been like a fad for me or something that's just popped up as an opportunity over the last 6 months. It's been something that I've been using for the last 4 or 5 years. So like I bleed AI. You cut me open and like bits are going to fall out, zeros and ones. So I just love it and I love talking about it. And I could probably ramble about it forever. So I'll let Jake lead the conversation because I'll just keep going with no stop.
Cool. Well, thank you, Andy. Today, we are going to kind of discuss, Andy and I have been having a lot of conversations about the psychology that goes into not only selling AI to local businesses, of course, in your own agency, but also what goes on in the other person's head. And you got to think in the mind of a business owner and what goes through their head when they're in the buying process. Now, AI is not something that you inherently, 94% of businesses, yes, they are looking to adopt AI. They don't know how. And there's a reason they haven't adopted. They're scared and they just genuinely have no clue where to start. And when you're selling it to them, there's a lot of people out there that are teaching this. And of course, you can join Grow AI, but they teach it in the wrong way. They say you have the product, the AI. AI is not just a one product. And you're just showing it to them and then they want it, yes or no. And they follow a very traditional sales process approach when selling it and teaching you how to sell it. And that's just simply not the case. And Andrew was texting me the other night at 1 a.m. about how, a different way to approach it. And it was just a late night conversation, but he's very, very, very passionate about the psychology. I think is a very good point. And we've been talking about it a lot, even inside of our own community of like-minded agency owners. So I'll kind of let him describe his new approach to it and then how to apply it. Of course, if you're watching this, you're going to want to apply this new sales technology or sales strategy into your own agency. So I'll kind of let him dive a little bit deeper into it and explain his point of view and why he went that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So in coming into this space, right, where we're educating people on AI, we're helping them get involved and really learn it. I took it upon myself to go and watch what other people are training. And there was a common theme across, I would say 90% of them. I want to say 99, but I'm going to give benefit of the doubt that there's 10%. People are not setting expectations. I haven't heard anyone talk about setting realistic expectations. Let me clarify that. And so I hear a lot of people say set the expectation of 100% perfect employee or a replacement or fast or more efficient. But those aren't true expectations. Those are expectations based on like physics, like real people can understand speed, they can understand time, but is that what's going to get them to move? And I'm going to get a little scientific here, and I'll try not to go too far off the edge. But technology is what's called ecological. So with every new tech that comes, there's a whole new wave, right? So you think of let's talk about ads, for example. You had phone ads, you had TV ads, you had magazines, then you had social media. And with each one of those, the last one kind of got crushed and the whole model had to change. Not one feature, not one piece of it. The whole model had to change, right? If you were still trying to push magazines in 2018, you might look stupid. Well, actually, you do look stupid. Not might. I'll just say it black and white. You look stupid because magazines are not the model that works in today's environment. And that's how I've been looking at selling AI, right? Is AI a SaaS? Is in the service terminology, right? Where you're selling implementation. Is it a tool? Is it a SaaS? Is it a subscription? It's none of those. And so can you continue to use the same sales strategies and techniques that you've been using in order to really push the masses over? And I think there's been a little bit of confusion by the online tech community that mass adoption is already happening. And this goes both ways. I'm an optimist. So while I can say mass adoption is not happening yet, it has not happened. The future is mass adoption. Now, your job as the middleman is to get people comfortable with the adoption. Like they don't really care about the AI. What do all business owners care about? When we go out and we start a new offer or we go out and we make an investment, if I'm going to buy a business, what's the number one thing I pay attention to? Risk. Risk. But every single sales guru that I'm seeing is not talking about the associated risk. I actually think they try to avoid risk because they know that AI itself can seem shaky to a business owner. So why would you even kind of talk about it? And so that's a bad expectation to set. And so what I want to talk about is some of the actual expectations that you should be setting, right? Because the truth is 95% of AI implementations right now are failing. Like, did you know that? Like, truly 95% are failing. And now you, as someone who's like, hey, I want to implement AI into businesses, I want to have an AI agency, why the hell would I do it if 95% failing? Well, they're failing because of the expectations. Let's all be blunt about it. We all use AI. It can suck sometimes. Like it can hallucinate. It can kind of go off onto its own context. It could bring up a different conversation that didn't matter. Like it just happens. And that's tech. It's a black box. You don't know what's happening there. But the black box is what people are scared of. So to set the expectation of risk reduction or that there is risk and being blunt in that, I think is actually a pro in the overall process. Because 100% perfect employee, if I tell you that the first time it messes up, your experience is ruined.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that just comes down to, you know, we're going to go into ways you can kind of set it straight when you're selling to the prospect. Of course, no employee that they currently have is perfect. That's why they're on the call with you in the first place. And yes, AI is very, very good. And like he said, you know, you could be having a conversation about the sky is blue, and 1 out of 1 million times AI is going to say the sky is green. It's just simply, obviously, not the case. It hallucinates. It's not perfect. Yes, it gets better every day. So maybe if you're watching this in a year from now, maybe AI is perfect. I find it very hard to believe, but AI a year ago to where AI is at now, the capabilities, the technology, the it seems like every day a new platform is coming out. We use Gemini a lot. Andrew and I go back and forth about the best platform. We've both kind of agreed at this current time. It's December 15th right now. In Gemini is the 3 Pro, I believe, the thinking one is just way better than anything else. 5.2 just came out, and I couldn't care less. Fuck ChatGPT. I'll say it right now. I don't like it. And we watch a lot of Interviews and stuff. I think there's a lot of people out there that do teach how to build and scale your AI agency that are not in the weeds. They're not in the actual tech side of things, and they don't understand the best model, all these the new stuff that comes out. I mean, we were watching an interview with Tris Workington. He is the product management director at
Google.
Google DeepMind. They're responsible for like some of the first LLMs that ever came out, and he said we are very, very early. And in 5 to 10 years, there's going to be agents from one company talking to agents from another company. That's why we're so bullish on this model. But of course, like Andy said, you need to set the precedent you need to set the expectations very, very clear in these introductory calls, in your second call with the business owner, when you're ready, you've already pitched them on these things. And when they're ready to give you money, if I give Andy money, if I give you money, the agency owner, in 2 months, am I going to be upset when something happens? You need to think in the mind of the business owner rather than, okay, I want money, I want money. Tell them everything's perfect. Because if I sold you a car that I told you was perfect, and then you found out in a month that it had, it needed an oil change, it needed new tires, it had a bad Carfax, and I wasn't disclosed that, you would be upset. So you need to think that's a very, very same framing that you need to think of as an agency owner. And so your churn rate does not go through the roof. A lot of these people say they're making all this great money come month one, month two, and then they're just signing on more and more clients, but they're churning after this 3rd to 6th month. You are very sticky inside of these companies. So once you are inside, maybe you build out a CRM, maybe you build out something very, very in-depth where you have their phone number, you have their email, and all this stuff. You don't want to piss that client off, and you don't want to get into a situation where they're going to have to kick you from everything, and then they're upset and they have a bad taste in their mouth about AI, and it kind of just ruins the whole market. So when you're fulfilling and when you're signing on a client, we're going to talk about how to properly set expectations. So I'll let Andy kind of go back and discuss how to frame it. And we're going to go from, we could do a little role play here if you want, and just how it would look from a business owner. We both own businesses. Of course, I own Grow AI. You're my partner on it, and we've owned businesses in the past together. So we kind of just go through what it would look like. Let's pick a niche. Just kind of just do this on the whim.
Yeah, I mean, we can
We deal with lawyers a lot. Let's just deal with lawyers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Not the easiest people to work with. I'll say that straight up right now. There's a lot of personal information, so this is an instance where you do have to be on your P's and Q's and not fuck up when you're saying something to them, because at the end of the day, we'll talk through in our own agency.
Yeah, I'll kind of talk through this, but give the scripting as we go, so that way there's context, right? So the first thing, and I want to lay this out, is I think the one, and I'll continue to beat on it throughout this call, is that I think the 100% replacement AI method is bullshit. Like, it's just actual bullshit. And here's where I would start from. I just want to lay a foundation for this. Where I would start from is in relating to the business owner by saying, like, just a simple question. Have you ever had a 100% perfect employee? Jake, have you ever had a 100% perfect employee?
No. And I can tell you, no business has. Zero businesses have. If they have, they're full of shit. So
and most likely you never will, right? And an AI employee is pretty much the same. I can promise you as much restraint as possible, but I can't promise perfection in the same way that if you hired me today, I think I'm a super genius, but I might mess something up, right? Yeah. And so what do you do in those instances? And this is where you start to mitigate the fear of risk by bringing it up. And so logically, you may get a business owner excited about, like, in terms of like expectations you set when you say it's fast, it's genius, it's the most intelligent thing ever, right? But once AI makes even a 1% mistake, the whole thing is cooked. And so you can't position it that way. And what you need to be doing is set the proper expectations. So these are the expectations. And this is my workaround to risk. I call it a double layer risk protocol. It just sounds fancy, but it's not anything extra that we're doing on the fulfillment side. It is more so just language to get them comfortable. And so, what is this two-layer risk protocol? Well, there is prevention and there is correction. And so, prevention, I like to correlate as a fenced in yard. And something that I like to do is humanize AI. AI to everyone is a robot. You need to humanize it. So I talk about AI as if it was a dog. Because you can understand a dog. There's service dogs, there's pet dogs, there's wild dogs, and that's kind of like AI. And so I say, hey, AI is a dog. And what we do to mitigate risk is we fence that dog into a yard. Now, that yard is full of all the rules and guidelines and parameters that this dog can do. It tells it when to sit, it tells it when to go on alert, it tells it when to bark and let you know someone's here. AI has all these similar functionalities. And so, what happens if the dog jumps out of the yard? I have a big dog, and sometimes my dog will jump over the fence and out of the yard. And I'm like, he doesn't do it all the time, sometimes, but I'm like, how do you do that? Well, AI may sometimes jump out of the yard. It's just going to happen. And what do you do when that happens? Does it blow your whole business up? Is your whole system ruined? No. Similar to if I hired you today, Jake, and you made a mistake tomorrow, I would simply go into the correction phase. So this is layer 2. So prevention is me teaching you and training you. But then there's correction. I can't fire you the first time you make a mistake because, like we just mentioned, 100% perfect employees don't exist. You have to train and really be malleable so that way you can build it into what it is. It's not going to be perfect day one. The same way your 20-year employee is probably way better than your 1-year employee. And so with the correction, there's really just a 3-step process. Sorry. It's like freeze, unfreeze, refreeze. And so you freeze the process and you identify, what was that incorrect logic or where did it mess up exactly? Then you unfreeze, you go in and like all of the logic is fluid now. This is your editing stage where you actually go in, you've diagnosed, and you make the change. And then you unfreeze. And so you let the agent go back live and you monitor it the same way you would with a human employee. That's exactly what I would do with any of our employees if they messed up. I would stop them, I would diagnose them, I would train them, and then I'd let them run free again, I'd monitor. And that's how you have to kind of approach risk when you're talking to people about implementing AI in their business.
Yeah. So let's go through, I guess, how you would frame that. Let's go through kind of, we'll use the lawyer example. So I can play the lawyer in this case. And inside our own agency, we do specialize a lot with lawyers. We've seen some great success with them. Not a Borat reference, but we've seen some great success with them. Of course, they have more money than the average, let's say, HVAC company. If my AC were to go out, I would cost me a couple $100, and AI receptionist to them is not as valuable for that one missed call. Now with a lawyer, a one missed lead, somebody that emails in that doesn't have an auto email responder, somebody that calls in, that could cost them $1,000 for just a consultation call. It could cost them $5,000 to write a contract, but it could also cost them $100,000 to win a case, and maybe it's a huge multi-million-dollar lawsuit that they're going to use for them. So that is where the created value, of course, the agency model before with social media marketing is very standard. People aren't going to spend $5 to $10 grand for a social media marketing agency. Yes, on the higher end, but I'm saying the average person is not going to spend that. With the AI automation agency model, you're able to come into a business and really pick out the value created. And yes, there's people out there that say that they're making $300,000-$400,000 a month. That's not true. I've already debunked that in another video. Probably see it if it's not up already. And that's just not true. I mean, that's 300 clients that you're servicing. It's quite literally impossible. With these kids are 19, 20 years old saying that they're doing this. If they are, kudos to them. I'm not going to talk bad about them, but it's very, very hard to service that many people at that young age. You don't understand business at that. But I never, of course, want to talk bad about somebody. So we're kind of going to go through an example of a lawyer. I'll play the lawyer in this case. Andrew, you can kind of, of course, we're not going to go a full call. We're just
Mhm.
going to kind of walk you guys through how to structure it. So when you're getting your leads, of course, I always tell people start in your internal network if you have somebody. Not everybody has a lawyer in their internal network. So let's say this is a cold approach. He had emailed me. He had sent me he had called me or something of that nature. And then lawyer, I'm the lawyer. And then, he's already emailed me. I've booked a call on his calendar. Broad kind of, they have solutions and stuff. We're going to dial in that in another video and kind of like how you would email, how to cold call, how to do all that stuff. So I've hopped on the call with him. He's kind of reached out to me about what he does. This is a cold kind of approach. So
Sorry, I'm helping Jason.
So
Okay.
once we're on the phone, let's say, how would you frame selling this solution to me, or how to like get me interested once I'm on that first call?
Yeah. So I like to correlate the work that the business owner is doing to like go for work, right? What does go for work mean? So it's like the repetitive stuff. That's where I would start. That's the diagnosis. So we can start from kind of like the diagnosis spot. Um, so I would say something like, Jake, I'm curious, like when you look at your week, are you finding yourself getting dragged into kind of like admin work, or have you mostly managed to delegate that?
And this is where, the lawyer would say, yeah, so, I'm answering the phone calls, I'm responding to emails. But like when you're asking them, you have to dig deep into these questions. And like they may give you a very surface level answer like that. Yeah, I take phone calls. Okay, how much time are you taking on those calls? Who else could be taking those phone calls? Do you have somebody else? And when you're understanding any business's process, they're all selling a product or a service. So you want to understand what I ask. This is, to follow up with that question, after you learn a little bit more about the business owner, give me the flow of a client coming into your business. So for a lawyer, okay, somebody calls in, then who answers that call? So that's where it would be, the business owner would say, oh, it's me, or it's so-and-so. Okay, so how much time does that person spend doing that? So if I was a lawyer, I would say, I spend about, I don't know, 20 hours a week responding to emails, responding to calls. I'm very involved in that process. And then, as a follow-up question, you could ask me what I'm doing better, of course, or what
Yeah.
I can do
And
better.
so you would go in, I like to call them second and third layer questions. Like discovery is like a cake. Like you just have to keep peeling and peeling. Well, you don't peel a cake, you slice a cake, but you understand what I mean. Um, and so in that instance, well, you gave me a few different examples. I'll
Mhm.
I'll focus on like the schedule. We'll stick to scheduling right now. Um, so I would be black and white with Jake right back, right? And I would essentially kind of be like, so you're the highest paid admin in the company right now, Jake.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. And so just to understand, you're trying to do high value work, but you're stuck in low value admin work. And that takes like 20 hours a week, you said?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wish, I wish I wasn't taking so many calls. I'd rather be closing deals, or cases in this case,
Hmm.
at court, servicing my current clients and making sure that they're all good. And really just the onboarding process is kind of a nightmare right now. We have
Hmm.
people coming in through ads, through Google, through Instagram, whatever that may be, and then I have to respond to everybody. And of course, yeah, I mean, my time is very valuable. I'm the business owner. I don't necessarily have that time.
Okay, that makes sense. So before we kind of like talk about us and like solutions and dive into that side of things, have you tried using tools like ChatGPT already, or have you mostly stayed out of that?
Yeah. And then, okay, I'm out of the lawyer for a second. This is where business owners, a lot of them are very like they're 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 scared of AI. So most of the time they're going to say, "Yeah, I use ChatGPT to do X, Y, and Z for my own life, not really for the business." Or maybe they've tried stuff. Maybe in the rare case they, I've tried to build something out for my business. Just didn't work. I trained it on what my attorney or my law firm's name is, and when I ask it questions, it'll help me out. This is where they're going to say those things. So let's say in this case, yeah, I've tried it a little bit. I don't understand what it can do for me, and like I see all these, of course I'm on the call with you for a reason. I see all these people saying it can make your life better, or it could replace an employee. I don't want to replace an employee. I just want to make it my job a lot easier so it can take the calls. Can it even do that? Like a lot of business owners have no clue what it can do. So this is where you need to be very open minded and like let them talk. Let them talk about their problems, and then you just pull the lever on
Mhm.
exactly what it is. And of course, on the first call, never just have one. Always say, multiple. So in this case, Andrew, can it even take a call from me? Like I've seen these ones on the internet, and can it like what can it do? I spend a lot of time emailing as well and like scheduling shit. Like can it do that?
Yeah, so at its core, what we do is we take your repeatable processes and we're able to put automation behind them, right? I say automation and not autonomy because it won't be fully autonomous. We're still going to have you involved in that process. But yeah, it can do calls, it can do texts, like emails. In terms of communication, that's one of the stronger capabilities of AI right now.
Cool, cool. I mean, like I guess what is that? Is it a human like thing, or what does that look like?
Well, yeah, I mean, so AI is kind of human, but it's human all the way across, not just on the good parts, right? And so AI can be human. It can sound human, can have human tones, it can communicate like a human, but also like a human, it can make mistakes sometimes. And so that's just something to be like cognizant of is that, AI is not the perfect employee. It's a great employee. It'll be one of your better employees, but we're still going to have to monitor and maintain and train it, just like if you hired someone new. So I can't promise you I turn it on tomorrow. It knows everything about your business as good as you. You've been in law for the last 10 years, and I think you're probably pretty smart. AI's pretty smart, but like you still have the one up there. Um, so like yes, it can do these things with the proper sort of parameters put around it. And it kind of sometimes makes it easier to visualize what AI can do if you visualize it like a dog, right? A service dog. And so AI, um, similar to a human, is very intelligent. So a service dog is intelligent, AI is intelligent, but you probably wouldn't let a service dog go like drive your car. You wouldn't let him drive you to the gym in the morning, would you, Jake?
Not at all.
Yeah, right. But you would probably, if you were blind, you would let the dog walk you around based on your commands to let you know if it's safe to go and things like that, right? And so that's
Exactly.
how we build our AI. We build it where you are walking the dog essentially, and the dog is not walking you. You have full control. And so the similarities there are that AI is robust, so it's intelligent. It can like work on its own commands and triggers without you having to necessarily do it, right? So I have a family member who has like they have diabetes, and they have a service animal that can actually like sense somehow. I have no clue how, but the service animal can sense when their insulin is low, and so that's similar to AI, right? Like the dog's kind of free, like kind of hanging out, not doing anything crazy. It's in the fence yard. The AI is in the fence yard. When that trigger goes off, the AI knows to do it. But when the insulin gets low, the dog knows to like go and like tap on the owner and tell him to sit down. It'll go and like I've seen the videos. They're all over TikTok. I get sucked into them sometimes. Um, but the dog knows. But when it's not working, it's waiting. And that's what AI does. So it's not like it's going to be off roaming and doing whatever. It's going to only go off of your commands. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so usually the one big thing stopping businesses is that risk, right? What if my insulin gets low and the dog darts out of the door? What do I do then? And that's what everyone's worried about, right? I'm sure that's why you didn't move forward with the last tools that you tried, because you just didn't know exactly what was going to happen when it turned on.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we're good on the role play. That was perfect. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. So, like you said in the beginning of the call, anytime somebody's giving you money, anytime somebody's doing something for their business, they want to make sure, of course, the money that they're giving you is worth the risk, is worth the value, and it is worth the time involvement and stuff, of course. So you need to make this call with them be, it's sales 101. You're selling the outcome, you're not selling the product. You need to make it as low risk, as high value, and they don't care about the actual tools that you're selling them. They care about the solution. So in this case, the lawyer, was talking about the problem of I was spending too much time on the phone, too much time managing the email and going through the inbox, and when I could be focusing on what I am good at. And every business owner is good at mostly one thing. They should be good at everything, but their time is better spent in one certain part of the company. And when you're on these phone calls with the business owners, you need to identify those. And after they give you the first layer, like you said, there's tertiary, secondary layers that you need to then pull. Because when it comes time to then pitch, I'm going to put together a proposal for you. Of course, every business is different. I'm going to put together a proposal for you. And this is where, I'll make another video on how to make a proposal. This is where you need multiple ones, 2 or 3 or 4, so that way you can bundle it up. And it's a lot easier to sell, price anchoring. Okay, you could do all 3 or all 4 together bundled for 10K per month. They talked about scheduling. They talked about phone call. They need a retail or a VAPI agent. They need an auto email responder built out. We could build that out in 5 minutes, not using Outlook.
No
but
outlook.
and these are all things like you need to keep pulling the lever on that sales call. Okay, that's great. Most business owners on that first call, you just talk about everything they hate about their business, where they can either make more money, save more money, or be more efficient. And you keep pulling levers. Okay, that's great, Jake. What are some other levers we can pull inside of your business to make it a little bit more efficient? Where are some other time, spots that you're spending too much, or maybe you have a team of VAs that is handling this one task. You spend $5,000 a month on them. We could drop that down. I'm not telling you it's going to be fixed overnight, and we can have one of those VAs manage this entire system. But where can we pull more levers? And you need to keep that first call going and going and going. And whatever their issue is, as long as it's not, they want to make the sky purple. They want to make the sky, red. As long as it's not something crazy, they want to make $1 million overnight. Every business does. You say, awesome, I'll put together that in the proposal that I'll send you after this call. Keep it very open-ended. It is a discovery call. You're not hard selling on that first call. So then when it comes time to sell and put together a proposal, they find it very, very, it's nice because you're not hard selling them, and you put together something beautiful for them. We use Gamma a lot for our proposals. Basically, I'll transcribe or record the first call either with a note-taking app like Fathom, Otter, whatever that may be, or just inside of Google Gemini. I'll take it on Google Meet. You can use Google Gemini to transcribe the meeting. So that way, maybe you have the call, you're cooking on the call. Maybe you forgot one at the end of the call, one of their pain points, or you just didn't notice it. You can kind of train your AI to analyze that sales call and be like, oh, damn, this person talked a lot about this super complex workflow that I have no clue. You as the agency owner, you don't have to know the first thing about the workflow. Yes, you need to have surface level knowledge, but the pain point is the thing that you are solving in the business. So when you send them the proposal, it'll have all of those listed out, what the cost is for each of those, and then of course together. So that way, if it's 10 grand, and maybe the excuse me, the email agent is only 1,500 to set up, and then 1,000 to $2,000 per month to run. It's a lot easier for them to say yes to that rather than just having that as a yes or no. So that that's a lot cheaper than 10 grand per month for all of the agents.
I wanna piggyback off of one thing you said. So you're talking about this bundling, right? And I want to make sure that you guys position the bundling properly. You can bundle the services, but don't necessarily bundle the build out. So what I mean by that, is you can create a $10,000 package, but clarify that when you're going to build, and this is a good kind of example to give, you're going to build like it's a submarine. And how do they build submarines? They build them in compartments. Why do they build them in compartments? Because if I take a big damn stick and I jam it through a submarine when it's at the bottom of the ocean and there's not compartments, the whole thing is going to flood. The whole thing is going down. But with modern day submarines and modern day technology build outs, like you're building, similar to a submarine, they have them in compartments. So unless I go through and I jam a stick into every single wall, the thing's not going to go down. Just one thing's going to fill with water. And so a lot of times people have a fear that by allowing AI to do one thing, it can take down their whole business. Because mentally, it's a lot easier to break something than it is to build it. You know what I mean? And so just be mindful in how you position the actual build out. You can package the agents together, but to mitigate fear of risk, explaining the build out in that compartmentalized way is going to be very beneficial for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Where can we
And
go?
then there
I
was
mean,
one more thing you said there that I was going to piggyback on. It might come back to me.
yeah, and the proposals. But yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, it is sales 101 at the end of the day. I really just want to reiterate that, like, we said in the beginning of the call, it's about risk and the transparency. That's the ultimate thing, guys, that you just need to be very, very transparent. And if it's your first client, be very transparent about that. I've seen success in our Grow AI clients of being very upfront with their internal network or somebody that they're pitching. Hey, you're my first client. Don't BS. I have all these. I've done this ROI for this company. I've been able to generate them these amount of calls, because when it comes time to show that, the proof is very difficult to manufacture and when it comes to that. So when you're very upfront, maybe for your first client, guys, if you're watching this and you've made it this far and you're taking sales calls but you're just not getting anywhere for your first client, discount your I don't love discounts. I actually fucking hate them, and I like making a lot of money. But for your first client, discount your upfront fee. Don't come in at as the AI genius and be charging $5,000 for an upfront fee because that's what everybody's telling you online. That's just not the case. Knock that down. It's going to cost you $500 to build it out with a VA overseas, or maybe you learn how to do it on your own for the first one. I don't know. And it's going to cost you maybe a couple $100 in subscription fees for whatever their custom build out is. Knock it down, cut it in half, charge them. I normally charge $2,000. I'll charge you $1,000 for this, and then in 30 days, if you're not happy, I will go ahead and we can just end the contract. Set you don't have to do a refund. You can if you're very confident about that down the line. But for your first one, set like a what is it called? Like a free trial period, I guess. Not a free trial, but set a trial period. And in 30 days, if you're happy with everything, we're going to go ahead and continue. And set the framework. It's not something that, like, if they want an AI receptionist, if they want an auto email responder, I would love to just snap my fingers and all my clients just have it done overnight. It is going to take some time. So when you're setting, maybe you're on a second call, ready to close, you talk about, okay, this is what next steps are going to look like. I'm going to need a lot of information from you. It's going to take maybe a day or so for us to kind of go back and forth. We can hop on a call with my developer. I usually keep the developer out of everything. I have them send me a list of everything that they need, and then I go into the business owner and tell them, okay, I need a, let's call it a support at domain.com Gmail login, so I can have kind of build everything out and test it. I'm gonna need, if it's an AI receptionist, I'm gonna need, who do I forward the emails to if it needs to be escalated, or what is the call, the number that I need to escalate it to. If it's something very important for your law firm, I need to escalate it. If they need something right that second, it's a current client or something of that nature, I need a number to add to that. I need I need Twilio numbers. I need open API keys. That's all going to be inside your own business. But you're going to have a list of questions from your VA. If you find a good one, and we'll, of course, in the future go through how to find a very good one. We've broken down full SOPs for that. You need to make it very clear on that call that is not something that is going to be turned on overnight. And that's kind of the synopsis of this entire meeting that, Andrew and I are having is transparency. Transparency, it's like anything in any relationship you have, especially business relationships. It's very easy to burn bridges and then get a bad name. If you're talking with your girlfriend and you lie to her, it's going to catch up to you 9 times out of 10. It's just how it is. She's always going to find out, and the business owner is always going to be able to call your bluff. It's really easy, and there's a lot of bullshit out there right now. So I recommend being very transparent, very honest about pricing, about timelines, about deliverability. Nothing is perfect. Nothing's going to happen overnight.
I mean, I I agree with that completely. One thing that I was thinking was like something to think to yourself when thinking about selling AI and how you should sell AI. Like, Jake, when was the last time you bought something from a magician?
Never.
When was the last time you bought magic?
Never.
Maybe a kid when you had a fucking magic toolkit, or like
I
you
saw
know,
a
you got a
video last
wand.
week, and I was going into it looking for the sleight of hand, looking for where he was, you know, going to
Yeah,
trick me per se.
yeah. And so, like, people don't buy magic. Everyone's telling you to sell AI like it's magic right now. It's fucking not. It's another tool. It's a tool. Everyone's making AI seem like it's the big eye in the sky, and it's just another tool. But the way we're selling it and setting expectations for it, which is what we're hitting on this whole call, is just incorrect. It's not that the business model isn't sought after. There's plenty of businesses that are interested, despite mass adoption not happening yet. There's plenty of businesses. The reason the businesses right now are failing at selling AI is because they're not setting the expectations, they're not framing it properly, they're selling it like magic, and no one buys that. You just got to be realistic with yourself. Like it's common sense. Like the I. You know what that means, Jake?
I. Explain that.
Intelligent yet idiot. That's what most, and I didn't coin the term. That's from this guy called Nassim Taleb or Taleb. He's like a philosopher guy, something he does something. But it like people who don't have skin in the game but are teaching you something, they're intelligent yet idiot. Because knowledge is accessible. But you're still a fucking idiot because you haven't actually done it. You haven't actually you're not trial and erroring these things. Whereas we're actually trialing and error. We sold like everyone else is selling. And it was shit.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
was shit.
Yeah.
And we're having a lot better conversations now that we have this reframing. And this all comes from, honestly, me reading a book about cults and this guy who gets people out of cults. And the way I see it is right now, the world is stuck in a cult mindset that is biologically framed to not want AI. Because we frame it as an apex predator that's going to come take your life, take your job, take your money. And I don't know. Apparently, ChatGPT is putting out a spicy mode. It might take your wife. So, it like, so you just have to be mindful of these things.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for today, guys. This was kind of this is our first one, of course. If you guys like this, please let us know in the description or in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting a lot of free content, of course. Very soon, I will be launching a free group that everybody can join where we talk about these things and we just put these calls behind no paywall. Yes, of course, Grow AI. We help people build and scale their agencies from the ground up, or if they have an existing one, we of course help you scale that using the stuff that we talk about in these calls, the stuff we battle test in our own agency, and then of course we're a fulfillment partner at the end of the day. That is what Grow AI is. We're your partner in that. We're looking for people that maybe don't have a lot of time and they just want to take sales calls with business owners. They want another form of income outside of their 9 to 5 that does not take them an entire week, an entire work week, a 40-hour work week, to go ahead and achieve that. That's why, we're very bullish on this model. That's why we're talking about it. So If you guys want to learn more about Grow AI, it'll be the first link in the description here. Andrew is my partner. He is my, the CTO at the company. He's responsible for fulfilling on every single workflow. Of course, we have a team of developers that does that. They are, state of the art. They are, very, very well trained and vetted developers. You're not just getting some BS product. And if you're, maybe you're a business owner watching it, I don't know if you made it this far. We've been talking about it, and you want AI in your own company. Of course, it'll be the second link in the description. You can go ahead and book a call with our team. We can go ahead and do that. But again, guys, thank you so much. If you've made it this far, Andrew, thank you for your time today. Of course, we're on calls all day, and it was kind of nice to do this. Let me know what other videos you guys want to learn about AI agencies. We could talk about everything from the ground up. This is, of course, the first process is the sales process. We can go a little bit even before that in building out your niche stuff. I'm going to be posting some more of that content. I have a bunch of pre-recorded hour-long calls where I go live inside of my community. Going to go ahead and drop those on here for free. But of course, if you want early access, join Grow AI.
Yep. And one last thing, I remembered Jake was talking about recording your sales calls earlier. If you're in the group and you record those sales calls, we're not doing it all for you, but we're helping a big bulk. I won't give like a percentage, but we're helping quite a bit when it comes to that. If you bring us a sales call that we can read, we can extract all the information for you. So
we'll tell you, what kind of pain points the business owner had. You, as an AI agency owner, when you come into Grow AI, you're not going to know these things. You're a beginner. That's why you of course, signed up. And even people, we'll show on here how to analyze your sales calls. Of course, in Grow AI, the value is skipping the line and having your hand held through everything with somebody who's done it and built multiple 5 figures per month agency. I'm not going to hop on here and claim that I've made $300,000 a month. That's complete fucking bullshit. So just like we said earlier, it's all about transparency, and I'm not going to sit on here and lie to you guys. So I'll leave you guys with that. Andrew, thank you very much. This is 46 minutes. Holy. We have these conversations every single day, and we're looking forward to making a lot more of these coming soon. Andy, any other last words?
No last words. My last word is expectations.
Cool. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll come back to you guys. Probably, Andrew's going to be gone. He's leaving me for the holidays, but we might make another one before he leaves. So I'll be posting by Christmas.
I'll ruin Christmas. I'll do a podcast on Christmas. I don't care. We'll be doing more of these, promise.
All right. Peace out, guys.
See you.